Yeah.
Let's fight for the question.
Exclusive audience.
Right?
We lose a game and nobody shows
Yeah,
up.
it's tough crowd. I mean, speak for itself right there. I guess first off, anything new with Aaron? If he's going to travel with you guys out west for this trip, and how's he progressing?
Yeah, I mean, nothing new as far as that. You know, looking for at least a week or so and targeting later in the trip if possible. But he's continuing to get his work done, getting some shots up, a little more movement day by day. But I would say at least a few games away still.
And just going back, looking at yesterday, after you looked at the film, and it was like one of your probably lower assist total games of the whole year. What do you kind of attribute that to? Was it their double teams constantly kind of throwing out a flux? I know they're a good defensive team too, but what kind of stuck out to you in that front from a offensive perspective?
Yeah, and I mentioned it last night, not being as sharp or crisp as we have been against the double teams and traps. And, you know, they either doubled him off pick and rolls or in isolations, they hit off of the closest man. And so playmakers behind it, we just, you know, had a ton of great shots out of it. We went big and small, those guys in the pocket making plays. And you look at all the numbers and the shots and the expected points. It was a pretty big win on our part because we had great looks out of it. And like I said, I just felt like we were a little off, being that we saw it a lot this year and Jason has. They pretty much blitzed off of everybody and got some really good looks. And so we really touched on that today, cleaned up a few things, areas. You know, we're going to see that going forward, and you know, the proper spots to get guys in.
And how do you what do you focus on when you work on practice on things like that, like in a mid-season practice like this, where you're, you know, obviously short and
the spacing, getting guys to their outlets, and then everybody else behind it to kind of limit their rotations. We want bigs to occupy the rim and take out one of their guys there. Find the middle always is a good you know, antidote to that, and you have your numbers behind it, and then, you know, sprinting to outlets to not leave Jason hanging at that point. And so confident in our wings and guards to make plays out of that. Like I said, we've seen it quite a bit this year and have been one of the best teams against it. So, you know, overall, like I said, defensively, we were good. Other than the 38-point third quarter, they scored 95 on the night. That should be a win, but we weren't as crisp or sharp against their traps. And with that being said, it came down to us trapping Doncic, them trapping Jason, and didn't really hitting a shot, and we missed a few wide open ones.
And the last one for me, Derrick's been with you guys, you know, I think over a month now. He's, you know, defensively seems to integrate right in. The 3-point shot is struggle a little bit for him. Is that something where it's a law of averages thing, or would you guys like to, you know, find him maybe some better quality looks just over the course of the last month or so?
Yeah, I'd say he's a better shooter than he's shown here. He has had some really good looks, but we missed a lot yesterday. I mean, in general, it wasn't just him. Peyton, Jalen had a few open ones off the traps, and you know, we live with those shots, Grant, as well. But he mixes it up really well, whether he's a threat off the ball, catching it and driving it and making a play, or initiating offense, or catching and shooting. So we want him to stay confident, understand how important he is for us going forward. But also, you know, things do take some time regardless of the shots. It's different when the guy's getting trapped all game, and kind of him and Daniel, not just defensively, but offensively, finding their spots. And so it's going to take a little bit of time. And he's a guy that we value and know his importance off the ball and the plays he can make. And so we're confident with him there. And we still have 15 games to get him acclimated to everything.
Thanks.
Ime, what are some of the goals and focuses that you have for the team as a whole on this upcoming trip?
You know, goals are to continue to play as well as we have been. You know, we got some teams, obviously high-level teams coming up with some of their players coming back. So we've been talking about improving through the month of March. You know, had a good February, but we want to play better this month, stay healthy, and get everybody else acclimated. Like I said, Derrick and Daniel and some of those guys into the rotation a little bit more. You know, our goal, the easy goal, would be to play better than we did on the last West Coast trip. You know, we've obviously improved since then, but there'll be some good challenges. We got some younger teams that are playing well, but also, you know, Denver and Golden State obviously are gearing up for the playoffs as well, with adding some pieces back. And so our goal is to play as well as we have been and take this take that and let it carry over onto the road trip.
Thank you.
Couple Zoom questions here, Coach. For Mark Murphy's first.
Hey, Ime. One guy who has actually been playing better as the season goes on is Al. Both with his shooting, his scoring, it just seems that every part of his game is really picked up. How do you manage his minutes from here on out with the way he's been playing?
Yeah, Al's been big. I think even early in the season, when the shooting numbers weren't there, he was playing really well overall. And so that hasn't fallen off at all. The shooting has kind of picked up back to his career averages. And so we anticipated that happening. But he's invaluable as far as everything else that he does for us from a defensive leadership, offensive standpoint as well. And so with him, it's getting Daniel acclimated there to take some of that burden off. Him and Rob, we can kind of spin those guys and just find any break we can, honestly. We have some games with, like today, 2 days off in between, and then some 3-day breaks as well. So that'll bode well for us going forward, and keeping him fresh and healthy like he's been all season for the most part is paramount going into the playoffs, and we understand it's important. So any way we can shave those down, obviously comfortable wins helps, but rotating Daniel in there a little bit more and getting him acclimated will help Al as far as the minutes.
John Corrales.
Hey, Ime, just reactions from the Kevin Garnett ceremony last night. Did you talk to the guys, and what did they say? And also, what was it like on Saturday night to have Charlie Scott say you're not a Celtic until you win a championship, and then look basically directly at you and say no pressure?
No, I think it was a huge night, and for Kevin, but also for the group to be sitting out there and watching it. And you hear about stories, but actually being there, it's a little bit different. And seeing some of the greats come back and seeing the banners and hear them talk about the story. So all that is very important for us going forward, understanding what it is here and what we're playing for. We mentioned it to the guys today, but you could also just see the looks on their faces throughout the ceremony, hearing the stories and, how impressed they were. These are all guys they, grew up looking up to. And so to hear them talk about what they went through coming to Boston and some of the similar things that our guys have probably felt and experienced. And so that was a big night. As I mentioned, anytime you can be around the greats and share stories, receive some love from them, and they talk to our guys about what they're seeing from our guys and the potential of our group. I think that's all obviously beneficial for our guys. Regarding Charlie, I talked to him right before he went on stage a little bit, and he said he appreciates what we're doing, how we're playing, and the improvements we've made. But to hear him say that, it's just confirmation for what I already knew. You see the banners, and I talked about it from day one, the expectations. And so, I don't mind that at all. Like I said, there's good trouble, good problems to have, and you want to live up to those. And so all of that pressure, there's good pressure and there's bad pressure, and some of those things, I think, continue to keep us sharp and keep our eyes on the goal.
Follow up from Mark Murphy.
Ime, you witnessed some great battles between Duncan and Garnett. How would you characterize the relationship between those two? I mean, Kevin could rub people the wrong way, obviously.
Yeah, I would say mutual respect off top. They're obviously two of the top power forwards coming up. I saw some of those with Tim and Rasheed Wallace and Joe Smith, coming up in the ACC, and then you added Kevin Garnett to the mix. It was like one of the top, overall, those power forwards of that era were some of the top players there. So it was just funny, a different dynamic. One's a talker and one's not, and they go about it their own way. But the battles were huge, obviously, in the Western Conference all those years. And so, he'd be wolfing at Tim, and Tim wouldn't say a word, and try to get back at him in his own way. And so, little things that Tim would do, he'd make a shot, nice contest, almost got it, little things like that. But while Kevin's in his ear, barking the whole time. They went about it different ways, but two players that were obviously at the top of their game. So to watch those battles was impressive, obviously, when I was there with San Antonio.
Final Zoom question from Bobby Manning.
Hey, Ime, just want to ask about Jaylen Brown's recent play in terms of the ball handling, the aggressiveness. Looks like he's really trying to get downhill, but the shot's kind of on and off right now. And sometimes it looks like he gets a little caught in between as he's trying to get downhill and make plays there. What are you kind of seeing from him right now?
Yeah, I mean, understanding the balance that I've talked about all year with him and Jason, and you know, the natural scoring ability and understanding how guys are guarding them. And so you saw it last night. They took it out Jason's hands every time, and he has to be extra aggressive in those cases. You know, he's obviously a high-level scorer, and if they, you know, dare to blitz off him, we ask him to make the right play, whether that's scoring or making the pass. And so at times it's not always going to be as smooth as him just going to the basket to score, but he's capable of it. He's shown improvement in that area. And so his scoring is needed, especially nights when they're trying to take Jason out of it. And so it's just that balance. They both improved tremendously in that area. It's going to be a constant, you know, improvement throughout the year, but you see the results. And so I think all of our team has seen the way we're playing unselfishly, and then everybody enjoys everybody's success. So Jalen's a big piece of that, and his growth has been great throughout the year.
Wrap it up right there. Thank you, Coach. Have a good, safe trip.
Thank you.